I don't need to go viral. I don't need to have every single person within the industry knowing who I am. I don't need to become the next Iman Gadzhi. What I need to be doing is I need to be cornering my industry and becoming known within my pocket of this group of individuals who believe in stuff that I believe in.
Today's guest is a 26-year-old entrepreneur who built his personal brand, Wiz of Ecom, from $0 to $6 million completely with organic traffic.
What makes you stand out right now in 2025 is actual relationship building. People try copying Hermota's setup. People just try copying his content strategy, or they try copying Dan Ko's content strategy, and they're like, hey, they could just post without having to engage with people. It's because they're on level 5 of this authority that they've built, and you're on level 0. I don't care if you generated $100 million. I don't care if you spent $100 million on Facebook ads.
It's not about what you do, it's who you are. And the power of your personal brand, I think, is becoming more and more and more important to become an authority, to be able to build trust. Skepticism has just been going up and up and up, and it is going to absolutely hockey stick soon. When it comes to trust building and turning that trust into pipeline, what's the secret to that?
It's very simple.
Today's guest is a 26-year-old entrepreneur who built his personal brand, Wiz of Ecom, from $0 to $6 million completely with organic traffic. What started from a single Twitter account with no existing audience transformed into a profitable flywheel generating over $6 million in revenue across X, LinkedIn, and email without paid ads and without a sales team. He's the CEO of Mogul Media and works directly with multiple 8 and 9-figure founders, agency owners, and CEOs to turn their content into trust and that trust into pipeline. He is the master of building a profitable personal brand on organic traffic, and today he's breaking down his system for us. Mubbu, welcome to the Masters of Lead Generation podcast.
Thank you so much, Alicia. What an awkward time for you too. I feel so bad about this, but I'm so grateful to be on this. And I just want to let you know your system for everything on this podcast was so freaking smooth. I was so impressed by everything. So I'm so stoked to be here, and I'm excited to chat.
Yay, thank you. It is early for me because I'm in Bali and you're in Toronto. So it's like late at night for you, early in the morning for me. But this is when my brain is the best. It's like unpopular opinion. I'm actually a morning person, so I'm usually up at like 4:35, and then by like 4 p.m. my brain's a potato. So I am giving you the best part of myself today.
That's amazing. I'm actually the same way. So I write all my content first thing in the morning. I don't care if Barack Obama himself emails me or texts me. I'm there first thing, like 5, 6 a.m. and I'm writing content. I'm in it.
Yeah, that's when the brain is working, right? And how long ago and why did you start it?
So it's actually a crazy story. I started this on Valentine's Day in 2020. So before that point, I was running a lot of brands. I had e-com brands. I had a marketing agency. I had a few softwares, and I had about 75 employees. And I was actually dissolving that partnership in 2020 to start going in with my own marketing agency, like a retention email marketing agency at the time. And I was like this big lurker on Twitter. I would see a lot of people like Kobe Gatsby, Nate Schmidt, a lot of the e-com guys within the industry absolutely killing it in 2018, 2019, sharing sauce and the behind the scenes into their journeys. And I'm like, you know what, one day let me just go ahead and start pushing some content. But I was so nervous to put my face out there. I was so nervous to like put my name out there and all that stuff. I didn't want this like guru type of stamp on me. And I decided to build the personal brand anonymously. So I started off in 2020 looking for a source of lead flow because I realized I can't keep hopping from events to events constantly. Can't keep hopping from Vegas or Reno, Nevada, and Vegas all the way to New York, then back to Toronto, then to Dubai, just to speak to everybody in the room and try closing deals. It wasn't efficient enough. So I needed to add in a new predictable lead flow source. And I realized early on that my own personal energy, my vibe, and my personality was something I can use as a selling point, right? Whether it be having great conversations with people, whether it be trying to analyze people's problems, blah, blah, blah. And I was able to very quickly understand that if I can do this at scale, which means reaching as many people as humanly possible, I know for a fact I can get that predictable lead flow source. So I started Wiz of Ecom. At the time, I was actually earned from ecom, and I was like big in the ecom space because like I had a lot of brands, I had a lot of agency clients that were in the ecom space as well. So I turned myself into Wiz of Ecom, and that was like my startup. You know, in the first few months, things started clicking well. Things started really growing. I was starting to make some real friends, and I'm like, you know what, this doesn't feel like a chore anymore. This feels like I'm actually vibing with people. I'm finding friends all across the world, but they're also building businesses, and like to this day, those guys are my best friends, right? To this freaking day, which is insane as well to hear. But yeah, that's how I started it out.
That's awesome. And tell me about that switch from it no longer feeling like a chore, because I know a lot of business owners, and they're not necessarily marketers, right? So having to do content is like, fuck, like it feels annoying, hard, annoying, lame, frustrating. What made that switch to you actually enjoying doing it?
It's the reason people fall in that loop is because content is very performative for them. They feel like they have to twerk on camera. They feel like they have to be fake. They have to like shake their bonbons, whatever it might be, to go and bend their knees down to their viewers to get as many viewers as possible. But what I realized early on is I don't need to go viral. I don't need to have every single person within the industry knowing who I am. I don't need to become the next Iman Gadzhi. What I need to be doing is I need to be cornering my industry and becoming known within my pocket of this group of individuals who believe in stuff that I believe in. So when I realized that my personality was my selling point, that my personality was what made me different within this actual industry, I realized that, hey, I can just go in and I have an idea and I could just tweet from the hip. I can just go and I finish a conversation with the founder and he teaches me something. I can go and just talk about it. And I look at the personal brand as a diary of my journey, right? It's my archetype of my personal brand is build in public. I love to share the behind the scenes into what I'm doing, my lessons, but what I'm also trying to build. And I think the big key point here is I am me online. I don't have to force to be anybody else. And there was a period actually in 2023 where I fell off of that. I had a period where I grew like 40,000 followers on Twitter, and all of those followers were there for motivational content. They were all there for hustle porn, right? Like I'm telling them stoicism advice. I'm telling them very generic stuff that wasn't me. I had a ghostwriter coming in, giving very generic pieces. And I'm like, hey, these numbers are great. This one had 1,000 likes. This one had 2,000 likes. And all those individuals never bought from me. I was making the same amount of money as I was without those followers. Exact same amount. Nothing changed. But at the exact same time, I lost the joy for it. I lost the joy to create content, to think, to be creative, to challenge my thoughts, right? And I think it also expanded a part of my personality, because when I start thinking about what I should be talking about, what I should be tweeting about, what I should be teaching other people, it gets you to reflect. You have to ask yourself questions. And there came moments in my life where I'm like, wow, Mubbu, you're very one-dimensional or two-dimensional right now. You're talking about the same two things over and over again. Where is your growth? Why aren't you learning something new? How come you haven't reflected on other areas of your life right now? So when I came very in tune with myself and really heard my own internal voice, and I was able to speak not just persuasively but confidently about what's going on in my head, it no longer became a chore. It just became an extension of my personality.
I love that. And I think when you start doing content, it's very easy to optimize for the ego. And as you said, that's such a great way to phrase, like it becomes performative, where you're like, okay, what am I going to do to try and get the likes and to try and get more followers? And you can make a lot of money off of 1,000 followers. Like I know that we think a lot about personal brand the same because we both presented in Cancun, but in my YouTube, before I even had like 100 subscribers, I had made 2 high ticket sales, like 30, 40K, because I just found the right people. And anytime with my content similar to you that I've started to go down this journey of like following the wrong signals, which is very easy to get distracted by the wrong signals. And also to your point, I think another big opportunity that comes out of content is thinking better and articulating yourself better, because you are forced to like articulate your thoughts in such a way that you can, on Twitter back in the day, like condense them down into just a few characters, or on YouTube actually teach someone something, right? Like having to crystallize your ideas to teach somebody else I believe is one of the ways that has helped me to become a much better entrepreneur and business owner and leader.
You know what? It's also because we're forced to really think more than we had to before because of how competitive the spaces have got. Everybody and their mother is amazing at content these days for some reason, right? Like if you're talking to me about personal branding on Twitter and LinkedIn and even on YouTube, you're probably seeing the same thing. So many people are great at having exceptional hooks, exceptional intros, and it's because we're all the same information is accessible. So what people were talking about back in 2021, 2022, the audience has sophisticated so much to a point where the value that people were talking about of some 6 steps to do something or 8 steps to do blah, 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 there's nothing unique about that anymore. What's unique is unique opinions, unique insights. Like there's a trending conversation right now going on Twitter where all of these founders are talking about how Shopify revenue is down 9% and there's more 7-figure brands closing than ever before. And when you come into a conversation like that, someone who's giving an opinion on that will have a better chance of closing clients than somebody who's coming in and tweeting, hey, believe in yourself and go drink water. Here's your morning routine. You know, like the morning routine post that back in the day, if you saw a big founder talking about it, you're like, wow, this founder's really doing this stuff. But in reality, the day-to-days of these founders, since the market's sophisticated, everyone's really showing what's going on, what their thoughts are, what their reflections are. And it's just a part of the game now. You know, everyone's great at content and we got to keep up with it.
And I'm going to come back to that, especially with more AI. So there's people are better at content and now there's more AI garbage. But you said something really interesting earlier around your archetype and finding your voice. And I wanted to see if there was anything else to pick at there about how somebody can find that.
For sure. So my strategist actually asked me that same question today because we do a weekly interview where she asks me questions about either frequently asked questions that the audience might have, some question that someone commented on a post of mine, or something that stuff that I've been reflecting on. So there's a few different archetypes that we have within the industry. The first archetype that I would call is the build in public founder. So these are the individuals showing the behind the scenes, not only into their business, but into their life. So for example, someone who does exceptionally well at this is Nick Shack. Nick Shack talked about recently that he flew to Japan with his son and he cried. He said it was such a difficult trip for him and his wife, that they weren't prepared properly. There was so many learning curves involved with it. And then a few weeks later, he quoted it and he spoke about, hey, I took a lot of the advice that the space spoke about and he had a way better trip when I think he went to Spain or something. And that's build in public. That's behind the scenes into an individual's life. The type of people that you're attracting over there are very mature audience, very strong business owners who are in their 30s to 60s, like within that range, who have built a family or who have went through this, but are trying to juggle family with relationships with business simultaneously. That's a very strong archetype if you're comfortable with talking about the behind the scenes in your life. And you can also talk about numbers. That's your we just finished Q2 2025. Let's do your Q2 reflections. What went well? What didn't do well? What are you anticipating for Q3? What lessons from Q2 are you bringing over to Q3, right? So that's a killer archetype that aligns with individuals who are comfortable with being transparent about themselves and their lessons and stories. The second archetype is what I call the cool guy. The cool guy is someone who's very opinionated and very controversial. These are the guys, the only type of people who can be this individual would be someone who's generated multiple 8 figures for themselves. I'm not talking about even for other people. And the reason I say this is because if you show an opinion within the space and that opinion isn't backed by real like authority and real results that you may have brought in the past, you're just going to get roasted. You're going to get laughed at. Everybody in the space is going to call you out for it. But the cool guy is essentially coming in, giving controversial opinions on topics. Some guy might come in and talk about, oh, this concept right over here is the only way to do something. This is the only bid strategy that works, whatever. This guy can come in and say, this is full on utter bullshit. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, but like it's like it's
absolutely
it's fucking bullshit. And they will honestly say it straight up. They will laugh at the individuals, but they'll show proof and they'll subtly talk about a number. They're not flexing. Every other post is not, let's do 9. I made 9 figures. Let me break down how. Or I made multiple 8 figures. Let me show you my 6-step process. No, it's opinions. It's based off of current events in the industry. The third type is the news accounts. So I have a friend, Zach Duncan. I asked him how to improve the retention on one of my products. And he said to me, Wiz, it's super simple. It's the same concept as to why people watch the news. So he's like, Mubbu, why do you watch the news? I'm like, I don't know, maybe because like it's fear and all this stuff. He's like, no, it's actually within the name. People watch the news because there's always something new happening. So there's always something that people can keep up with. And something clicked in my head where I realized, wait, some of the best accounts in the space right now on any social media are giving news, but not as just like a news anchor, as a journalist, and giving their opinions on how to adapt into the specific, whatever that news might be. Someone who's exceptional at this is Miran Istanvanik. I've never been able to pronounce his name, but he's a very good friend of mine. He was a client of ours for a while too. He absolutely killed it in the space, and he's a legacy name in the space on paid ads right now. And if Meta has a new update right now, he will talk about it, but he'll give his opinion on how he's going to be implementing it. And this is important because like I was doing a podcast with Dan Coe, and Dan Coe was saying the most important thing that you can do is get as many nods as possible with your audience. Get as many people nodding their head when they read your content. So they read 2-3 posts, they're nodding their head. On the fourth post, it's a news update, and then the founder shares that with their team, and the team implements it. The team makes money. Now the founder trusts you more. Now the founder sees your content more, and they're like, okay, you know what? I want to keep checking this individual's account. But now multiply that by thousands of people. You have thousands of people looking forward to whatever your content may be because you're the newsworthy account. So those are the main ones. The fourth one's the flexer, but I'm not really like, I don't think anybody listening to this wants to become that flexer. I think it's a surefire way to kill your reputation. It's very lucrative. Don't get me wrong. It targets a 16 to 24 audience, but like 24-year-old, but it's not going to generate you like the 20, 30, 40K retainers or $300,000 contract sizes. If you want to reach the flexor side, that's like a completely different conversation.
Again, I'm sure we can think of a couple of accounts that fit into the flexor. And do you want to get anybody into any universities, any hustler universities? I think that would be the kind of account you might choose. So for you, before we start to get into the system, which we will, right? But that's almost like, it's like a funnel. Like the system is useless unless you actually understand the inputs into the system. And that archetype is a very important thing. It's like, okay, start here. What archetype do you want to be? Build in public, cool guy, news account, flexor. Good luck to you. Or whatever. So once you choose that, is there anything else strategically that somebody should be thinking about before they start doing organic content?
For sure. I think it's platform focus. I think the micro authority ecosystem, and we'll touch more on what micro authority is down in this conversation, but the ecosystem to add an extra 250K MRR would be YouTube, huge player, Twitter, LinkedIn, your newsletter. I think those are the main platforms that you have to kind of obsess over. I'm not a big fan of Instagram. I don't think Instagram is good for founders. Everybody listening back, if you're listening back, when was the last time you listened to someone's technical advice on a reel? When was the last time you heard someone's reel that said, hey, here are 6 strategies to do blah, blah, blah? You're not listening to that. But when you're seeing a real founder's reflection or a very raw video on YouTube of someone doing a viral video or a landing page breakdown like how you do it, you're actually taking notes because it's not generic top of funnel advice. I think we have to identify which platforms we want to focus on. And the beauty about the industry that we're in is we don't have to go viral and get hundreds of thousands of followers. I have 200,000 plus followers. It's such a vanity metric. I would do the same exact numbers with 50,000 if I knew my current strategies right now. You don't need all, and that's across all of the different platforms. So I think it's really based off of choosing the platform and understanding that top of funnel isn't our focus. Our focus would be partial top of funnel for about 20-30% of the strategy, and then the rest of the funnel would be but the rest of the content would be middle of funnel and maybe 10% bottom of funnel. So the big meat of the sandwich over here is the middle of funnel stuff, and that's what Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, all these platforms are exceptional for, to nurture those individuals. So I think it's choosing the platform next is what would happen right after the archetype.
And when choosing a platform, what is your recommendation? Should you try and do all of them all at once with the system you're about to show, or should you master one channel first?
I think the primary platforms, the way I envision it is Twitter is the nucleus platform. So Alex Hormozy and quite a few other names within the industry use Twitter to test and validate ideas because the audience there is very up to date. Twitter is trying to become the news platform, but I'm not just talking about news within what's going on in the world. I'm talking about news within the industry. So when people scroll through Twitter, it's the most up to date stuff that's happening. The moment something happens, Twitter will know it before anybody else in the world knows about it. So when you're testing an idea of a content idea, of a content, of a positioning, of an angle, whatever it might be, and you post it on Twitter, if that does well above your whatever your average likes may be, then you can go ahead and come up with another topic to really milk the hell out of that and use that for LinkedIn. You could use that for YouTube. That becomes a topic for your newsletter. So Twitter is essentially the nucleus platform. You're not going to grow the biggest amount of followers over there. However, in my opinion, it's the most potent audience base. The people who are following you, the people who see you on the For You page are constantly going to be seeing you based off of the way the current algorithm works. The algorithm is beautiful right now. Where if I search up the word YouTube for personal brands and or not even search it, if I see a tweet that says YouTube personal brands and I click on it, Twitter thinks I am now interested in that keyword and they will start showing me more posts about it. If you're creating content within that topic and your content is strong, it's unique, it's opinionated, it's around actual industry trends happening right now, your content will show up on my For You page. It makes everything easier. Followers are a useless metric over there. So Twitter would be the primary one, and there's countless multi-8, multi-9-figure founders, CEOs, VC-backed companies, all of them just the executive level and the owners and the board members are on Twitter. Then the next layer would be LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a beautiful platform. I love LinkedIn. It's a very boring professional platform. However, it performs exceptionally well if you're producing the right content there. Now, Twitter is more relationship building and up-to-date content. You take those winning content ideas that performed on Twitter and we LinkedIn-esque it, which essentially means add emojis, make it sound a little bit more professional, make it like one-liners and spaces to make it more readable. And it's just a little bit more 2022. I feel like LinkedIn is like 3-4 years behind what Twitter is currently right now, which makes it so much easier to predict the next trends. So then you take the LinkedIn side and now you're posting there on a consistent basis. And those two platforms collectively, you're going to be able to do everything. Like you just take that winning piece of content from Twitter and then you can chat GPT it to repurpose on a LinkedIn training. You can get like any sort of LinkedIn masterclass from the internet. And then you just go ahead and get it to rewrite that specific content for you. And then you can post that on LinkedIn. So those are the two. And then once those are actually automated and working, I would add newsletter and YouTube. So by automated, I mean you have a team around there. You have a strategist, you have a writer, you have a designer handling all of those sides, but they are capable of taking on more work now. And then that's where you do this weekly optimization, which we'll go more into depth with on the system. But the weekly optimization essentially being, okay, what worked on Twitter, what worked on LinkedIn, let's use that for a newsletter topic and a YouTube topic now. Right. And then that's where those two platforms come in as well. That's the way I see it. You could probably fight me on it. And I think we should definitely spar on that idea because I know you probably do a research method of what you actually explained at the event where you said, hey, let's see someone's video who did great. Or not even great, like it did okay, but no one else was talking about that video. We can make the same video with a better thumbnail now, and then that video is going to do even better than whatever theirs was, you know? So I don't actually follow that methodology. I follow the methodology of what is the exact question that my perfect prospect is searching for me online, and I make a very raw video about it, a Miro breakdown or a talking head video. However, I do agree with even your style of videos because they do work, because I started introducing those styles of the higher production, of the really actually truly scripted style. So I know that style is working too, but that's something that I'm just dabbling into.
And the main thing is with content, there's not one way to do it. That's it. Like there's not one way to do it, and everyone's getting success in different ways. The worst thing I see people trying to do is like just copy the Hormozys, and I can't remember what their current overheads or like payroll is monthly for content people, but it's a lot. Like I know some of the guys in the team. I've got Caleb Rolston coming on in a couple of weeks as well. Like they have like freaking smart people doing it. Me, I do it myself, and I have some contractors. So it's like I have to be very different when I'm doing it, right? So for me with YouTube, that's like the core of my content machine because that's where I make all my money. So I just have to. Like that just needs to work, and I only have so much time to make content. And LinkedIn was the first platform I did. And then we did like 400K or something in the first year from LinkedIn. But it was way easier back in the day. LinkedIn's not as easy as it used to be. So now I'm like, I still put stuff on there. But with Twitter, I want to introduce that in. And so I think that will be good for testing. Just like you said, I also think it's good for refining my ideas when I'm out walking and doing my upskilling, and like just instead of putting it in my notes, I may as well just show people what's on my brain. Like, who cares? But the thing that I've been told is I won't be able to grow my Twitter unless I'm getting on there and commenting for hours and hours a day. Is that true?
So it's not hours and hours a day. Basically, I want to set a very strong expectation. The personal brand space is very competitive. I already brought that up before, but it's very difficult to stand out right now because content isn't enough anymore. Just like you said, people try copying Hormozi's setup, but on top of that, people just try copying his content strategy, or they try copying Dan Koh's content strategy, and they're like, hey, they could just post without having to engage with people. It's because they're on level 5 of this authority that they've built, and you're on level 0. I don't care if you generated $100 million. I don't care if you spent $100 million on Facebook ads. Like, every single month, we're getting multiple people booking calls saying, hey, I spent $100 million on ads. That's my value prop. No, it's not. That's nothing unique about that anymore. Everybody and their mother who is a media buyer, who's actually taken seriously has been working with multi 9-figure brands. You could be working with this person could be working with someone else. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make you stand out anymore. What makes you stand out right now in 2025, beyond just the exceptional content, is actual relationship building. And I'm not talking about like you commenting on someone's post saying this is fire. And a lot of you might be just like trying to skip this section right here, but I'm going to break down exactly how to engage with people in a systematic way that is still very unique and your own personality popping out of it. And it's very simple. You have to identify something called key conversations within the industry. Key conversations are conversations that are happening, that people are talking about, that is going very viral. So for example, there's this big software scandal going out right now where there's this one dude, I think his name is Sobham or something, where it turns out he's working with like 15 of the best freaking companies in the world right now, and he's full-time at each of them, but turns out he has an office of like 20 developers, and everybody in the space from like companies raised 20, 30, 50 million dollars are laughing, saying, we just interviewed him last week, we just fired him 2 weeks ago, and it's a full fucking scandal. It's hilarious, right? But that's a key conversation. So our SaaS clients, we got one of our clients, he has a $300 million SaaS, and just today we got him to give his opinion on it, on, okay, what should you look out for when you're hiring a developer for your SaaS now, right? So he's able to jump in that key conversation that's happening within the space. So you're riding whatever that wave is that's trending. You don't need to be on Twitter for more than 10 minutes on a daily basis. You create a list of 100 accounts. You get your VA or anybody from your team to do it, of people who are in your industry, of your direct competitors, of people who are just outside of the bubble within your industry, so just above the outside of that actual sphere. And then you just open that list up on a day-to-day basis. You see what are trending topics within your industry, commentate on it, give your opinions, give your thoughts. Like that one that I just spoke about the 9% dip and how so many companies are going under and filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's such a key conversation that has hundreds of thousands of views in the DTC space. You're coming and giving your opinion, or somebody talking about a bid strategy and you're disagreeing with it. So I think it's not about the number of comments that you have, it's about jumping into the right conversations, the key conversations.
So talk to me more about this, like, relationship building. Is that the next step of this system? Like, thinking about the content, we've got the archetype, choosing the platform, what's next?
So after the choosing the actual platform, it's more about coming up with the initial content strategy. So one of the most generic basic pieces of advice out there right now is something called content pillars. But we follow this like we're brushing our teeth. It's so important. None of us can skip out on it. What are content pillars? Content pillars are essentially the overarching theme of whatever your social media account might be. So for example, my content pillars, one of them is personal branding. The other one is going to be AI. The third one's going to be funnel creation. And the last one is just my mindset and business experience and building in public. Those are my 4 main content pillars. When you're creating a content pillar for your account, all of your content topics, every content piece piece you'll ever produce will be around one of those 4 topics. And the reason this is important is because if you go outside of whatever your pillar might be, you might go viral, or you might start attracting new followers, but in a completely different realm of people who aren't going to buy from you. So for example, there was a moment in time where I was doing NFTs for a while. I had probably 60, 70,000 followers at this point, and I started trading NFTs publicly. So I started buying a lot of them, and I would flip something from 20 Ethereum to 40 Ethereum, blah, 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 keep on going my way through, and it was working. Then I started getting all these followers, and I realized, wait, none of these guys are going to buy on any of my offers. What's the point of this? And I went astray from my content pillars. So I have to go back and I have to identify content pillars. How do you specifically do that? How do you create a content pillar for your personal brand? Well, you're going to always have one around your expertise, no matter what. You're always going to have, after the expertise one, you're always going to have one around what you're specifically building right now and some sort of behind the scenes on it. The third one is always going to be about some sort of opinions that you have in the industry. And the last one is something that you're interested in, right? From there, when you have those pillars, you're going to be identifying topics for each of them. The best way to do this is FAQs. What are the frequently asked questions people have around your expertise? Come up with 50 of them, right? And then the second stage, the second pillar, same thing with building in public. What are 50 questions people would have for you, right? Same thing with the business side. What are you building right now? What's going on behind the scenes, etc. And all you're doing is coming up with questions for those, and those are going to give you the starting point of the content. Now, I think this is still the easy part. I think people right now get very confused with the content that they're supposed to be producing because they just think that content is enough and just posting whatever content it might be. This is giving you a little bit of a structure for how to create the initial part of the strategies, but the big part comes in on the optimization section now. So the optimization is actually 80% of the work. You can go ahead and come up with all these ideas of all these questions as well, which is great, but on a week-to-week basis, you need to be identifying what works on your account, what doesn't work on your account, what's working within your industry, what's working for your competitors. And by working, I'm talking about topics and styles of content. So the different formats of your content. Are short posts working? Are long posts working? Are listicles working? Are Google Docs screenshots working? You're constantly testing out, and you want to take note of what styles constantly work. Within 2 months, you're going to have about 8 different content winners that you're going to be able to milk. And then what are the topics that are working? Not just for you, but within your industry as well. So then now you can always mix and match. If one topic's working for you, you can go ahead and connect it with a Google Docs screenshot. You can go ahead and connect it as a short form post. You can make it into a listicle. You can make it into a talking head. And the same thing vice versa. If a vehicle is working well for you, you should try that vehicle with any different type of topic. So it becomes this interweb where you can come up with infinite stuff based off actual data, based off of what's working for you, your industry, and your competitors right now. And then you get to optimize on a week-to-week basis without fail. But I think that's the caveat of organic is at that point, there is no more challenge. It's you kind of just showing up and optimizing it week after week by asking yourself, okay, what is trending within this industry? But the long caveat of organic is how long it's actually going to take to actually start seeing those results.
Because it's not like overnight, right? And so a lot of founders and businesses, that first order thinking, like you run ads and you get results straight away, and they're kind of used to that, and we're all increasingly more impatient. But the way that I think of content is that you're building an asset for leverage. So this takes time, and it takes nurturing, and it takes learning. But once it's unlocked, it's insane. I don't know about you, but even just like not even just like the direct revenue, which is insane, but the other opportunities that come from building a personal brand and being on different platforms is unreal as well. I know that you spoke earlier about like making friends and those sorts of things. Have you had any other opportunities flow in just from building personal brands and doing content?
Absolutely, right? I think your personal brand is your most powerful asset you'll ever have, because every single other acquisition source you'll ever have will also be like, this is fuel to the fire over here. If I run ads, I have 220,000 people that follow me that now know me. Same with you. If you're going to run ads, you can retarget followers. People already recognize you. I think the most important thing in the online space right now for any sort of acquisition is trust. It's not attention. It's not getting you and more eyes on your accounts. It's just getting people to trust you. When you're cold outreaching people, you're trying to build trust. When you're running paid ads, you're trying to build trust. But organically, when you have that asset, people trust you. Your cold outreach performs 100 times better. Your paid ads will perform 100 times better. If 100 people are emailing the same individual to try working with him and they recognize your name, you're going to be one of the 2-3 people that he's actually considering to jump in a call with, right? And it becomes this asset that makes every other acquisition source you'll ever have even better. But when it comes to other opportunities, like I just spoke at Eddie Malouf's event, this is someone who I've been looking up to, someone who's absolutely killed it in the agency space, who I'm trying to follow in the same path to scale to those same exact levels. And it's just baffling that I was invited to go and speak over there. I have one of my clients, we have multiple 9-figure clients right now, multi 9-figure founders, and one of them invited me to Vancouver to go to a hockey game with him, to because I like hockey as well. I have other individuals where I just met in Miami. I went for a trip in Miami and Orlando, met multiple different clients over there. So just being able to meet these people and get connected with such powerful names, like once you're able to build your trust, your account becomes your resume as well. So when I'm getting introduced to the best performance marketing agency owner in the world, or a founder that's generated hundreds of millions of dollars, they just see my account, they see the names that we've worked with, the trust is already built. And I think that's such an important thing, because anything you're trying to purchase, no matter if it's a Hello Kitty doll or some Pokemon cards, you want to know, is the seller reputable? Is the individual? That's the first objection. No matter what you do anywhere, trust is the first thing that you're doubting. Can I trust paying these individuals? And the personal brand covers that early on. People trust you as soon as possible, and that's why you'll close deals. You're probably closing deals in 15-minute calls. You probably don't need a 3-step call sequence. Some people are just saying, oh yeah, let's start working together. You can't do that with cold outreach. You need to take them on this long ass journey. You can't do that with paid ads. You need to have a 17-step fucking funnel and run test like 17 different variations of it. I could just tweet, I can post something, and you could do the same thing with videos.
100%. The quality of leads that come from our YouTube, like where I'm doing it, my YouTube, is entirely different to Facebook ads. On a YouTube sale, it's usually closed, call one. I literally the other day had a guy like fist pumping. He was so pumped that we could work together. And he was like thanking me. And then on the other side, if we're doing like Facebook ads, it's like, fucking hell, go watch my YouTube and then come back to me. Like, this is like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so completely different. So going back to that trust building, and I want to circle back to this, okay, there's more people doing content, and that's been happening for the last couple of years, right? But on top of that now, there's more people using AI. And at the start of this like AI journey, you could just tell. It was like, okay, this is pretty trash. You're just making trash content. You'll get weeded out eventually. However, of course, now over time, content's getting better. So there's going to be more and more content, and it's going to get harder and harder to stand out. What's the go? Is that still worth doing content? Is there a small window of time that we have to build these communities and to build this trust? What do you think?
I think AI should never be the end outcome of a post. It should never be whatever was written with AI should not be what is posted on social media. I think AI should be leveraged for every other step of the funnel. So I'm talking about your entire journey from the research stage to coming up with content topics to writing the initial draft. But the final variation has to be a human. And I'm not just talking about the very generic things like those hyphens where everyone knows that it's AI written, right? You will be, right? Yeah. It's hilarious, right? Or someone just repeating what someone just said in a different way, right? That's going to sophisticate. People are going to get smarter. People are going to train their LLMs in way better ways. And then, it's going to starting to sound like people. But at the end of the day, I don't think the creativity aspect of things and being able to create new trends, AI won't be able to do it. I think it's going to be a style of content, but it won't replace all of content. It's like different content formats. It's like in the creative space, you have different content styles. It's like in the content space, you're going to have even if you're running like a DTC brand or your performance marketing agency right now, you're probably testing AI as a style, but it's not the entire fucking ad account, right? It's the same thing with the content space right now too. It's not going to be everything. It's not going to be the only style of content that people are going to be doing. It's going to be leveraged, but the creativity and the human aspect is always going to be valuable because AI cannot replace your reputation. If social media just becomes AI speaking to AIs, no one's going to be working together. We're going to start living in a socialist society because no one's going to be innovating, and we're just going to go back and forth into this realm of like VAs talking to VAs and AI talking to AIs. I don't think the world's going to allow that to happen. I think the assumption here is that AI is going to be used for everything but the actual final piece of content that you're going to be producing. It's going to be helping out. There's going to be a lot of efficiencies. We let go of a lot of our team members. I have a team of multiple devs right now building our own internal, like everything is AI based, our own internal LLM. I can go and say, hey, what is Alicia's top performing content of the past 7 days? And what are the patterns and the trends within it? And can you come up with 3 different content topics around it? We're going to notice that there's going to be more agencies than ever that are going to be AI enabled, and agencies should be doing it. I just had a call with the founder the other day as well, saying that he's doing the exact same thing that we just onboarded. They have their own AI. They're using it to start designing emails. That's absurd. Beyond just the copy side, I think people are looking at it from a very generic and elementary way. And this is something that one of my clients, Ryan Sibeli, said to me as well. He was telling me, he's like, people look at AI in a very elementary point of view right now. It's not just a prompt and you get something basic out of it. You should be AI enabled, but don't think that AI is going to completely replace the human side of things. It's just going to make us all way more efficient.
And when it comes to trust building and turning that trust into pipeline, like I had in the initial hook at the video, what's the secret to that?
It's very simple. It's a 33% rule. This is the exact, this is when we're onboarding a client and the team is coming up with content strategy plastered at the top of, like, we create a brain for the clients. We plaster 33% blank, 33% blank, 33% blank. What are those blanks? It is the entire theme of your entire social media presence for your personal brand to start acquiring consistent clients from your accounts. Number one is 33% authoritative content. Authority content being content that shows off some sort of number that you may have generated within the content piece. For example, you started this off by having an authoritative statement about myself of generating $6 million for my own businesses, not including the tens of millions for the other people that we've been able to generate. That's authority, right? When I put that in a post of I've been able to generate XYZ, people start listening. And it sucks, but people are very shallow and they want to see a reason to trust your content. The second 33 is technical content. The problem is people lead with technical content. No one wants to be told what to do, but if they know the individual has authority, they will listen to whatever technical advice they're giving. I like the client that I told you, the $300 million founder. He was stuck at 200 followers. He was posting bangers about funnels, about he spends $2 million a month on ads. He's raised $100 million. And I'm looking at this gent and I'm saying, why is nobody engaging? And it's because he's not saying that he built a $300 million business. He's not talking about any of these things. So technical content's important, but it's no longer the majority of a strategy. You cannot walk in and be talking technical style pieces of content anymore. It's very evergreen. And evergreen content is something that anybody and their mother can produce. It's still important, but it's not the full strat. And then the last part is going to be story-based content. This is where people connect with you on a personal level. At the end of the day, I'm not the only one offering this. You're not the only one offering your stuff. We can do everything we can to create the greatest systems, the greatest team, but there will be 4 or 5 other people, exceptional names in the industry, who are also building something similar with their own great systems and their own great team. Well, what makes someone hire me versus them is they like my personality. I connected with them on a human level. People like your personality. They connect with you on a human level. They want to see transparency. They don't want to see that you're constantly winning. You know, like I wrote this tweet out. I'm like, in the past 365 days, I've had 12 or 15 wins. That's like 3% of my year where I was winning, right? The rest of the 97, my head's down. I'm working, I'm building, but I'm talking about that. I'm talking about rough times. I'm talking about big mistakes that I made. I married a content strategy or this strategy to scale something, or I hired these 3 people thinking this is the move. I'm like, wow, I got fucked over. I made a huge mistake. People care for that. So that's the last bit. Now, all collectively together, the authority content is getting people to trust you, to read through your technical content is giving people the nods, and those nods are getting people to want to book a call with you. And then the personal content is just like the final nail in the coffin. It's getting people to say, okay, this is the individual who I actually want to connect with. I know he understands what I'm trying to do. He speaks in my language. Some people are more technical. I'm very systematic. I'm very technical. I'm very logical, which you're probably noticing in this conversation. I'm not talking to you guys about stories as much, right? But some founders are going to be more sold on the story side. Some founders are going to be more sold on the authority side. I'm more in the technical mix.
I think that's a really awesome way to break it down. And I know when I first started content, it was like all technical. I was just like, here's how you make landing pages real good, motherfuckers. Like, check it out. Like, funnels, landing pages. And then I sort of, I don't know, just randomly posted like some story stuff, and like that just goes the best. And I was like, okay, I don't want to fall into a trap of only posting story stuff, because then like I'm going to become like some personal branding expert that just talks about like random shit and not known for a thing. So for me, it was like, okay, I wrote down all of my stories. Like, so we had this like movement called Operation Freedom, where Matt and I, we were in lockdown in Melbourne. You know, that's like 2 years, couldn't leave the house for more than 1 hour a day, couldn't go more than 5 kilometers. And we started doing side hustling, and we were like working together. And one day, like we shook hands over breakfast and like rage quit our job, and this like idea of Operation Freedom, like, and it was weird because I just posted it on LinkedIn one day and it went crazy, it blew up, right? But it's these stories that people connect with, and still to this day, I don't even post about it enough, to be honest, but people will message me, oh, I saw this thing about your Operation Freedom, like it resonated with me so much. And exactly what you said, like, it's not about what you do, it's who you are. Mm-hmm. And the power of your personal brand, I think, is becoming more and more and more important to become an authority, to be able to build trust, because skepticism, if there was a graph, has just been going up and up and up, and it is going to absolutely hockey stick soon, because no one knows what's real anymore. We're at like the singular moment where people no longer understand what is AI and what is real. So in my opinion, I think there's like a small amount of time. I'm probably putting time pressures on myself to really establish a personal brand and to build this trust and to build this community and get known right now.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Rand, over to you. You can have the talking stick back.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, it's so much easier than ever to start a new business, to start a new personal brand, but it's more difficult than ever to build it up successfully to 8 figures and beyond. Like I'm saying, everybody's great at what they're doing, and there's just going to be more and more people coming into the mix right now. So it is very difficult, but I 100% agree with you.
And what are the biggest mistakes you see people making when they're trying to build their personal brand and trying to get their content machine off the ground?
I think the biggest one is just focusing on only producing content. Like, that's the biggest one. It seems like people care more for efficiency than they do for effectiveness. And a lot of founders, especially older school founders who aren't in the organic space and just onto the social media side of things, they're looking for, oh yeah, I can automate this, I can build this quick system. That's not gonna help you build a real reputable personal brand that people trust on that personal level, right? And that for this department to actually work within a business, you have to focus on building those real relationships with people. That's the effectiveness. That's the part that you cannot automate as like to an exact T. I cannot automate who I'm going to talk to today, but you can if you're going to look at efficiency, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to automate by DMing 50 people today. That's not how it works, right? One founder who started working with us 2 years ago, he laughed at my fucking ankles on Twitter, and we started DMing. Like, I can't. How am I gonna automate that? How am I gonna see that on as a task list, you know? And like we shot it. We could jump in the DMs, and now we've been working together for 2 freaking years since that point, right? And it's because people are people. Like, you got to imagine like you're back in school, maybe like you're sitting at the freaking school table, right, with your homies, drinking like your juice boxes and like laughing while you play cards or something, you know? Like, you're not planning out a system to make friends. You're not planning out a system to connect with people. I hate the term connect. I can't stand it, right? Build real fucking relationships if you want to build a successful personal brand. Content is not enough, and that's coming from a content agency owner.
I think I've seen that as well, and I've done it myself. That whole like just ticking the box because you think you should do content. It's like, oh, I've got to do content, I'm just going to do it. And in any marketing, it's very easy to lose the magic because we're trying to like find easy ways to do it and outsource this and do that. Like, I've tested out trying to outsource someone writing my YouTube scripts that were fucking shit. Like, it's just like, no, I'm writing them because it's in my head like this. And then it ties into, well, what's my why? Because everyone's going to have a different why. So my why is like, I want to make an impact. Like, I genuinely believe that I have a gift to share with people, and all of these businesses out there that genuinely help people who suck at marketing. And that's my key. Here you go, take the key and go and find more of the people that you help. But if I'm not like doing the content, it's just crap. It's just vanilla and awful, and I have to find ways to be more efficient, of course. but that's part of it. And so I think finding your why is so important with anything, and especially content. Otherwise you will get that creator burnout, right? Like you will just absolutely hate it and you will never want to do it again, because you're not tying it to, just like anything in life, you're not tying it to something bigger than yourself. Like you're trying to get something out of it instead of trying to serve people. And so my epiphany that I had was like, if I can just wake up every day and find one more person that I can help as part of this mission, like why am I making content? It is to find these people to actually fucking help them because I believe in them. And I think too many businesses fail. It totally shifts it from that chore being like, gotta shoot content today, like eyeball roll. And that's such an awful energy to live in. And so I think finding that why is so important.
Yeah, and that why translates over into your team culture as well, right? Like I have one of my best strategists on the team right now. I was speaking to him 2 days ago because I like to align with all of my team's goals of where they want to be, what their goals are for these next few years. Are you obsessed with this, of what we're building? And he told me, you know what, Wiz, when I first started here, I just wanted to be here for a few months, learn what I can, and just move on to whatever the next project might be. But he's like, now that I see what we're building, I see the growth, I see like how strong this name is becoming, I'm here for the fucking long run. And that vision is so important because you can, you know what, I think that's such a strong point is conviction is such an important content piece and such an important conversation you need to have with your team, where you need to show people what the conviction is that you have in your mind. You're trying to convince people to believe in what you believe on social media, then you got to show all the reasons you have conviction on whatever your specific might be, message might be. Then you communicate that with your team. Now your team's all rallied up. Now your team wants to be a part of a winning team to whatever the championship might be. That's what their objective and their goal is. So the vision is actually something that we spoke about in Cancun as well, was the conviction-based content. I think that's one piece of content that we didn't touch up on that I do want to just like sprinkle in there is repetition leads to conviction. It's actually a propaganda strategy. MK Ultra has a study that says it takes 2,500 repetitions to actually change someone's mind. So I could repeat something over and over again and they will start internally believing it. If I keep on saying a mimetic of something that I believe in, of your personal brand as your most powerful asset, or the micro authority era, it's so important to become an authority but without having to go viral, and I explain it, I expand on it, I give story proof of other individuals within the industry who are also living by this specific concept, and I coin the terminology, people are going to start believing in what I believe too, and that conviction that I have is going to start spreading like wildfire. So it's important internally and it's important on the content side as well, but people got to feel that energy.
Do you think there's anyone that shouldn't have a personal brand?
If you're just a complete beginner with no offer, with no idea of how you want to monetize, I don't think it's worth your time to focus on it. I see a lot of people with like no experience. I'm talking like they've never built anything before, and like they jump in calls with me, or like I have like a big group community call, coaching call, and I tell them honestly, just focus on cold outreach, get yourself to like 10-15K a month. If you are going to post on organic, then just post, but don't overly systemize it. Don't obsess over it. You're not going to close a deal for your first 6 months because you don't have any case studies, any results. I don't think if you're a beginner, I don't think it's completely worth it for you. I would focus on getting $10,000-$15,000 a month with cold email first.
Yeah, agreed. Do something cool and get case studies. Like but there's like levels to the game, right? Like you've got to like prove that your marketing and your message works. Do that. You got to prove that your sales system works. Like you're getting validation on marketing, validation on sales. Then you're getting validation on fulfillment. Then you have a business. Okay, there's like levels to the game, and I don't think starting with content when you're a beginner is the best way to go, because I've seen it when I've run my own coaching programs for like agency owners if they're doing under 100K. And then they're like obsessed with doing LinkedIn and stuff because it feels good. It feels good. It feels good to get some likes. And it's like, get on the fucking phones. Yeah. Like, stop that. Get on the phones. Like, no more reels. Get on the phones and go and make a sale. Because right now you need to make money.
Yeah, completely. 100%. I totally agree.
And is there any questions that I didn't ask you today that you think is important to impart your wisdom on our listeners?
I think that you pretty much covered everything. Like, I can talk about this if we had another podcast and like it was just a like you know those ones where people are going for like 24 hours. I can fucking talk. Like, I would love to go back and forth with you. I would love to disagree with you and challenge you, but then at the same time agree with you at different points. I want to spar. I want to have like a real deep conversation about a personal branding, because there's so much to this, and you're someone who can see it from the same perspective that we're seeing it on, right? We're seeing it in this light of we're controlling what the world sees over here. We're creating content for the most the strongest, most unique voice business owners the world has ever seen, and we're able to see what people care about, what the feedback is from the audience, versus how we can change a narrative if we want to change a narrative. And it just feels like it's such a unique bit of power that we have, that so many other people would love to learn from. I feel like so many people would love to see the mind behind, oh, it's not just come up with a content idea, write a post it, optimize, right? The nuances between every step that we collectively see is something that I think a lot of people need to listen in on, right? So like, I think you asked me everything that we could go through on this actual podcast, but like, if we needed to do a fucking marathon of this, we can do it.
Dude, you said you're coming to Bali.
Yeah, that's actually
schedule an extra day. We will chop it up, as the kids and as the bros say. We'll chop it up. We'll chop up the sauce.
I'm gonna be in the fucking pool the entire time. My wife and I, we can sit there. She'll be on the calls as well too. We'll do a real fucking killer one. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can people find you after this?
So you can follow me on Twitter. I'm getting on YouTube. I gotta listen to a lot more of your advice, Alicia, and like follow through what you're talking about. I'm actually sharing everything with my team back and forth too on your thumbnail styles, but and the presentation that you had. But you could follow me on Twitter, Wiz of Ecom, WIZOFECOM, or Instagram, same username, YouTube, same username, Wiz of Ecom. You can find me on any of these platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely amazing.